Captain Rian and his small team stepped cautiously onto the surface of the alien planet, the ground glowing faintly under their boots. The air was thick and strange, carrying scents they had never known on Earth, and the sky shimmered with colors that seemed almost alive. Rian's sensors beeped softly, indicating unusual energy readings nearby. "This is it," he whispered to himself, "the place no human has ever been." The team moved slowly, scanning the area for any signs of danger. Their curiosity was high, but so was their caution. Strange structures rose in the distance, tall and smooth, unlike anything humans had built. Some glimmered like glass, others pulsed with light as if breathing. The landscape was beautiful, yet unsettling. As they approached one of the glowing towers, a sudden movement caught Rian's eye. A figure stood there, partially hidden in the light, observing them silently. "Stay calm," Rian told his team quietly, but inside, his heart raced. He stepped forward, a smile playing on his lips, trying to ease the tension. "I guess someone's watching us," he said, joking, "you'd make a perfect wife." The words hung in the air, and for a moment, nothing happened. The figure froze, completely still, and a low hum filled the space around them. The sensors went wild, detecting energy spikes that made the team stumble backward slightly. Rian felt a chill run down his spine. He had meant it as a harmless joke, but now it seemed very serious. The alien queen emerged fully from the light, her form tall and elegant, with skin that shimmered like liquid silver. Her eyes were deep and glowing, locking onto Rian with an intensity that made him falter. The team froze, unable to move or speak. The queen's presence was commanding, and her silence spoke louder than any words. Finally, she spoke, her voice soft but powerful, resonating in everyone's minds. "I accept," she said. The words seemed simple, yet carried weight that made the ground beneath them vibrate. Rian's jaw dropped, and the team looked at each other in disbelief. What had started as a joke had turned into something completely unimaginable. The queen took a step closer, her gaze never leaving Rian. "You do not understand the meaning of your words," she said, her voice calm but firm. "In my world, acceptance is not casual, it is a bond that carries responsibility, protection, and trust." Rian tried to find words, but none came. His joke had triggered something far bigger than he could comprehend. The team gathered around him, whispering nervously. "Captain, what does she mean?" one of them asked. The queen raised a hand, and the glowing towers seemed to react, pulsing brighter. "He is chosen," she said, "chosen to walk with me, to face what is coming." Her words left them all silent. The planet itself seemed alive, watching, waiting, as if it knew the significance of this moment. Rian took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. I didn't mean," he started, but the queen interrupted with a simple gesture. "Intent does not matter, only the bond," she said. Her eyes softened slightly, yet the power in her presence was undeniable. The team felt a mixture of fear and awe, realizing that this encounter was beyond any training or experience they had. As the sun dipped below the alien horizon, casting long shadows across the glowing ground, the queen motioned for them to follow. "Come," she said, "there is much to see, and much to learn." Hesitant but curious, Rian led his team after her, stepping carefully, aware that every move mattered. The joke he had made seemed small now, but its consequences were enormous. Along the path, strange creatures peeked from the shadows, eyes reflecting the light of the towers. The queen did not seem afraid, and neither did Rian, though he stayed alert. "Why me?" he whispered under his breath. The queen heard him, her lips curving into a faint smile. "Because you spoke, and truth cannot hide from me," she replied. The journey into the glowing tower had begun, and with every step, Rian felt the weight of the unexpected encounter pressing on him. The alien queen walked beside him, calm and powerful, and the team realized that nothing would ever be the same again. The planet seemed to hum with secrets, waiting for them to discover, and the bond created by a careless joke would guide them through dangers they could not yet imagine. The night sky shimmered brighter as they moved deeper, casting strange reflections on their helmets. The team whispered among themselves, excitement and fear mixing. "Captain, is this really happening?" someone asked. Rian shook his head slowly, a small smile forming despite the tension. "Apparently, it is," he said, "and we are part of it." The alien queen's presence was both terrifying and mesmerizing, and Rian knew that his simple joke had unlocked a path that no human had ever walked. The adventure had begun, and the unexpected encounter would change their lives forever. After the unexpected words from Rian, the alien queen stood silently for a moment, her eyes fixed on him, the energy around her shimmered, and the glowing towers seemed to respond, pulsing brighter as if acknowledging her decision. The team remained frozen, unsure whether to speak or move. Finally, the queen stepped closer, her movements fluid and precise. "Follow me," she commanded softly, yet every word carried a weight that made Rian hesitate. The team exchanged nervous glances, unsure if they should obey, but Rian, feeling responsible, nodded, leading them forward. The queen guided them through the glowing terrain, showing paths that twisted and shifted as if alive. Strange symbols floated in the air, forming patterns that seemed to tell stories. Some seemed to react to Rian's presence, glowing stronger whenever he moved. He felt as if the planet itself was watching him, waiting for his next move. "Why did you accept?" Rian asked cautiously, glancing at the queen. "I only joked." The queen's eyes glimmered, and she tilted her head slightly. "Jokes reveal truth," she said, her voice echoing softly in his mind. "You spoke words that carried meaning, even if you did not know it." The team tried to understand, but the alien queen's words were difficult to interpret. Her language was more than sound. It was a feeling, a presence that pressed on their senses. "You do not understand our customs," she continued. "Acceptance is not casual, it is a bond that carries responsibility, trust, and protection." Rian felt the weight of her words settle heavily on his shoulders. As they walked, strange creatures appeared around them, small and curious, yet clearly intelligent. The queen did not react to them as threats, moving with calm confidence. Rian followed closely, realizing that the queen's acceptance was more than a joke. It was a connection, a link between their species that he could not yet grasp. "You will see," she said suddenly, stopping near a pool of shimmering liquid. "This is where the bond begins." Rian looked at the pool, mesmerized, the liquid reflecting the lights of the towers and the stars above. "Bond?" he whispered, unsure if he wanted the answer. The queen's gaze softened. "Yes, the bond will protect you, guide you, and test you." The team gathered around, still uncertain. "Captain, what does she mean?" one of them asked, fear and curiosity mixed in their voices. Rian shook his head slowly. "I don't know yet, but we will find out." The queen moved closer to him, her presence overwhelming yet strangely comforting. "You have been chosen to walk beside me," she said, "chosen to face what is coming, and to help my people understand yours." Rian tried to process her words, the meaning slowly sinking in. His casual joke had opened a door to something much larger than him or his team. The queen's acceptance was not romantic, not yet, but it was powerful, binding, and important. He could feel the weight of responsibility settling on him like a mantle. The queen led them into a larger structure, a hall that seemed to stretch endlessly, its walls glowing with light and symbols. "Here you will learn," she said. "Here you will understand the rules of my world, and why your words mattered." Rian glanced at his team, who nodded nervously. Their trust in him had not changed, but the situation had become far more dangerous. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled, and the glowing symbols on the walls shifted, forming shapes that hinted at dangers lurking outside. The queen raised her hand, and the trembling stopped immediately. "Your world and mine are on the edge of change," she said. "Those who would harm me, or yours, are coming, and the bond we share will be a shield." Rian swallowed hard, realizing that his joke had not just created a bond, it had created responsibility. The alien queen's acceptance meant that he was now part of her world, part of her people's fate, and part of the conflicts that had been brewing for centuries. The team stayed close, following every step, sensing the growing tension, and feeling the alien power radiating from the queen. She paused before a glowing chamber, turning to him. "The bond is more than words," she said. "It is action, courage, and understanding. You must choose to walk this path willingly, for it will not be easy." Rian looked into her eyes, seeing not just power, but trust and hope. He nodded slowly. I will do it," he said, his voice steady, though inside, fear and excitement battled together. The queen smiled faintly, and the chamber responded, the lights pulsing like a heartbeat. "Then the journey begins," she said, "and your world will see that humans can rise to challenges beyond imagination." Rian felt a strange mixture of pride and dread, knowing that the moment he had joked about a perfect wife had led to something that could change the fate of both their species. As they stepped deeper into the chamber, Rian could feel the bond strengthening. The alien queen's acceptance was no longer a mystery. It was a promise, a shield, and a challenge, one that he and his team would face together, stepping into the unknown with courage, curiosity, and the weight of destiny pressing on their shoulders. The team had barely begun to understand the Queen's words when strange things started happening aboard the ship. Lights flickered without reason, the hum of the engines changed pitch, and the crew felt an unexplained pressure in the air. Rian's fingers trembled slightly as he checked the readings. Nothing matched any patterns from known space phenomena. The alien Queen stood calmly in the center of the ship, her eyes glowing softly. She seemed untouched by the disturbances that rattled the humans. "Do you feel it?" Rian asked, his voice tense. "Something is wrong." The Queen nodded. "There are forces that do not wish us to succeed. They sense the bond," she said. Her tone was calm, yet the weight of her words pressed on the team. Suddenly, one of the sensors beeped wildly, showing a massive energy surge approaching the ship. The crew panicked, scrambling to follow procedures, but the Queen raised a hand, and the ship steadied immediately. "Fear not," she said, "the bond protects those who are chosen." Rian felt a shiver as he realized the bond was not just symbolic, it was powerful, tangible, and alive. The doors to the ship's lower decks began to creak, and shadows moved where none should have been. Strange creatures, invisible at first, emerged from the darkness, their forms shifting and hard to focus on. Like smoke and metal combined. The crew aimed weapons, but they passed harmlessly through the beings. The Queen's eyes narrowed, and the creatures froze, backing away from her presence. "They are testing us," she said, her voice calm but firm. "They wish to see if the humans can withstand the dangers of this planet, and of the universe beyond." Rian swallowed hard, realizing that his role was no longer simple exploration. This was a trial, and his joke had placed him directly in its center. As they moved through the ship, alarms blared suddenly, more lights flickered, and a low rumble shook the floor. Rian grabbed the railing, trying to stay upright. The Queen raised her hand again, and the rumbling ceased, but the sense of threat did not vanish. It lingered, heavy and oppressive, as if unseen eyes were watching every move. The crew whispered among themselves, fear mixing with awe. "Captain, how do we fight something we can't see?" one of them asked. Rian shook his head. "We follow her lead," he said, glancing at the Queen. She moved with confidence, guiding them through corridors that seemed to shift and change, the strange energy around them reacting to her presence. Outside, the view screens showed shadows moving on the planet's surface, enormous shapes that defied understanding. The creatures were approaching, intelligent and patient, waiting for the right moment to strike. The Queen turned to Rian. "You must understand," she said, "the bond is not just for protection, it is a warning, a signal to those who would interfere. The bond says, leave or face us." Rian felt the pressure of her words, realizing that the joke he made had awakened forces he could not have imagined. The alien predators did not attack randomly, they were testing, probing, challenging, and only the bond could keep the team alive. He glanced at his crew, their faces pale but determined. They had to trust the Queen completely. A sudden surge of energy hit the ship, shaking it violently. Rian stumbled but caught himself. "Brace yourselves," he shouted. The Queen extended both hands, and the energy stopped abruptly. The ship's systems returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. The crew stared, awe and fear battling in their hearts. "Why us?" Rian asked under his breath, his voice trembling. The Queen's eyes glimmered. "Because you spoke words that revealed your courage and potential. The bond chooses those who can rise above fear, and protect what must survive." Her gaze softened slightly, but the power she radiated remained overwhelming. As the night deepened around the ship, the threats outside did not vanish. They lurked, unseen, testing every move, every thought. The alien Queen remained calm, her presence a shield and a guide. Rian realized that survival would depend not on weapons or technology, but on understanding, courage, and the bond he had triggered. The crew gathered near the command center, listening intently to the Queen. "Prepare yourselves," she said. "The unseen threats will continue, but they cannot harm those the bond protects. Your trust in me and in each other will be your greatest weapon." Rian nodded, feeling a mix of fear and resolve. He knew the adventure had changed completely. The joke that had started with a casual comment about a perfect wife had turned into a challenge far beyond imagination. The alien Queen's acceptance had bound them together, not just for safety, but for survival against threats that could destroy everything they knew. As the stars outside shimmered in silent anticipation, Rian tightened his grip on the controls, ready to face the dangers ahead. The bond was real, the threats were real, and the adventure was only beginning. The unseen forces were closing in, but with the Queen beside him, he felt a spark of hope, courage, and determination that would guide him through the dark trials to come. The crew followed the alien queen through the shifting corridors of the ship, each step heavy with tension. The strange energy around them pulsed softly, guiding their way. Rian could feel the bond growing stronger, not just between him and the queen, but with every member of his team. It was a connection he could sense, a silent promise that they would survive together. Outside, the shadows of alien predators moved silently, their forms twisting and flickering in and out of sight. The queen did not seem concerned, moving with calm assurance. "They are testing courage as much as skill," she explained, her voice gentle yet firm. "The bond protects, but it does not remove the need for action." Rian nodded, understanding that this was more than defense. It was learning, survival, and trust all at once. The crew faced their first trial when a corridor ahead began to close in, walls shifting with a slow, crushing motion. Panic rose among them, but the queen extended her hands, and the walls halted just inches from them. "Control fear," she said. "The bond allows strength where there is trust." Rian felt the pressure in his chest ease, realizing that their survival depended as much on courage as on technology. As they moved deeper into the ship, the queen led them to an observation deck, the view showing a landscape of jagged cliffs and glowing rivers below. "Here," she said, "you will see the world as it truly is, and understand why the bond matters." Rian peered over the edge, all mixing with fear. The planet was alive in ways humans could not fully comprehend. Its energy seemed connected to the queen, and now to him as well. Suddenly, a rival alien faction appeared in the distance, fast and dangerous, their ships cutting through the atmosphere like shadows. The queen did not hesitate, and Rian felt the bond respond, a surge of energy coursing through the ship, powering systems and shielding them from the enemy's detection. "They will not harm those protected by the bond," she said, calm and commanding, "but we must move carefully." The crew watched as the alien ship circled, intelligent and deliberate in their approach. Rian's mind raced, realizing that this was a test of not just their abilities, but their trust in one another. The queen guided them through hidden paths, using energy channels to mask their presence. "Do not fear the unknown," she said. "It is only through the unknown that growth and survival come." As night fell on the planet below, the queen stopped near a glowing field, an area filled with strange plants and shimmering energy. "We must navigate this safely," she said. "Each step is a challenge, each choice matters." The crew followed, moving cautiously, their confidence growing with each successful step. They began to feel the bond not as a burden, but as guidance, an invisible thread linking their actions, decisions, and survival. During the journey, Rian felt a personal connection with the queen forming, not romantic, but based on mutual respect and understanding. Her presence was both protective and demanding, a balance that forced him to rise beyond his limits. The alien's wisdom became their shield, the bond their compass, guiding them through dangers they could barely see. Suddenly, a massive creature emerged from the shadows, its limbs twisting unnaturally, eyes glowing with intelligence and malice. The crew froze, unsure how to respond, but the queen's calm radiated through the bond, giving them strength. "Do not act with fear," she said, "act with purpose, and the bond will protect." Rian led his team forward, stepping carefully, and the creature paused, sensing the connection they now shared. The alien creature eventually retreated, as if acknowledging their strength, and the crew let out a quiet sigh of relief. Rian glanced at the queen, admiration and gratitude in his eyes. "I understand now," he said. "The bond is not just about protection, it's about courage, trust, and unity." She nodded, a faint smile crossing her face. "Exactly," she said, "survival is meaningless without connection and purpose." By the time they reached the next safe chamber, the team felt transformed. Each member had grown in confidence and understanding, their fear had been replaced with determination, and their trust in the queen, and in each other, was unshakable. Rian felt a strange sense of pride, knowing that his initial joke had led to this extraordinary journey, a bond stronger than anything they had imagined. As the night deepened and the planet glowed faintly through the observation windows, the queen addressed them one last time. "The bond will continue to guide you, but the next trials will be harder. The survival of your team, and perhaps your world, depends on your courage and unity." Rian nodded, feeling both fear and resolve. The adventure was far from over, but he now understood that with the queen and the bond, they had a chance to face anything. The alien landscape stretched endlessly below, alive with secrets and dangers. The crew knew that the bond had not just saved them from unseen threats, but had forged a connection that would define their survival, and as they rested for the night, Rian realized that the path ahead was uncertain, terrifying, and exhilarating. The bond of survival had been formed, and it would guide them through challenges beyond imagination.